junkies out there, I invite you to spend some time with me. I'm Johnny Allen, and this is the Johnny Allen Podcast Show. Hey, and the show does start now. I'm your host, Johnny Allen. This is Johnny Allen Podcast / Videocast Show. Hey, welcome to another Friday Eve, or when I say Thursday, it is March the 26th, 2020. And you can see me on Facebook under Johnny Allen Podcast / Videocast Show, and the same on YouTube at Johnny Allen Podcast Show. You could put / Videocast Show, but if you just go Johnny Allen Podcast Show, it's going to come up. Welcome again. Thanks for liking and subscribing. If you're a first-time viewer, thanks for checking in. Basically, what I do is I talk about everyday life situations. I'm an average dude that talks about everyday life situations that goes on, and we just talk for 30 minutes and we drink coffee together. Today, I have a coffee mug from my daughter. Thank you, Allie. Cool as a moose in Maine. She bought that for me several years ago, and thanks again, Alexandria, for buying me this coffee mug. I cherish it all the time. So we get the coffee today. It's very good. Okay, last couple weeks I've talked about, what's going on in the world? Gee, let's see. What is going on in the world? Oh, yeah, we got a pandemic. Yeah, that's right, a pandemic. Coronavirus is like Godzilla, stepping all over the world and smashing everything in its path. The one thing that for sure it's smashing, besides taking out lives, that's bad, right? We already know that. Taking out lives is bad. People getting sick is bad. I work in the healthcare industry, and I'll share a little bit of that with you in a minute. But, the main thing it's smashing also, as well as lives, that's really bad, is the economy. Smashing the economy pretty bad. That's not good. You actually, things could be a little more scarier with the economy going, even more so than the actual virus itself. I mean, it sounds hard to believe, but true, right? It can. It could cause looting, chaos, robbery. We hope it doesn't get to that. We hope it doesn't get to that at all. I have one little complaint about our government. This is not a talk show, a political show, a political talk show, rather. But I do have a legit gripe with our beloved government. Now, I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're Libertarian. I don't care if you're a Martian. Of course, if you're a Martian, this probably does not affect you, right? But what I do care about is that we, as Americans, we pay taxes. We support this government. We support this country as taxpayers. How do we pay taxes? Well, we make money, right? Okay, how do we make money? Well, we run or work in a business. That's it. Okay, so with the coronavirus outbreak, what did they have us do? Which I understand that. Shut things down. Distancing, shut things down, limit transportation, limit travel, limit a lot of things. Shut restaurants down, shut a lot of businesses down, and I understand why they're doing it. But when you do that, it kills the economy. So what happens? People lose their jobs, businesses can't run, businesses fold, so on and so forth. You guys get that. If you study basic economic courses in high school or college, you understand where I'm coming from. It's a very bad trickle-down effect, right? So what happens with the government and taxes? Well, if no one can work, you're not going to pay taxes. So the government money pit or bank or whatever you want to call it, sometimes I call it a pit, it'll go belly under. You'll lose a nation. You'll lose a lot of stuff. But here's the thing. We paid so many billions and billions of dollars to the government, right? They have a surplus of money. They really do. They never tell us how much, but they have a way of, creating money. That's a whole different show. But anyway, they come up with a stimulus package, right, to help businesses and people out, like you and me. That's great. Wonderful, because we're doing what you tell us to do. You're telling us to shut things down. We're doing that. We don't want to spread the virus. We want things to get back to normal as fast as possible, or if it ever does get back to normal, right? So we're complying with what the government is asking us to do. All right? So please do what the government says they're going to do, which is give us a stimulant package deal, paychecks, keep businesses afloat till we waver the storm, okay? And what pisses me off, and like I said, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, I don't care about the comments below. The bottom line is you got to put politics aside, people. You got to put other things that you want attached to this bill aside for a minute. Just strictly give us the money, emergency fund, and be done with it. That's it. And if they're not doing it right away, I mean, as weeks go on, you're costing people that are barely living paycheck to paycheck their houses and, food or whatever. You're causing more problems. Just send the money. Period. Thank you, government. Send us the money. Set your partisan sides apart. Now's not the time to try to throw something in there that I want. Just send us the money. That's it. That's all I got to say about that. Please do, because we support you, the people. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, whatever. Maybe even Martians. I don't know. We support this government. When we need it in time of crisis, give it back. That's it. Talking points, one of my talking points today. So the economy. Do you have worries about the economy? Comment below. This whole thing about the virus, I don't want to talk about the entire show, but it is a big thing. I've talked about it. Even early on, and I have to eat crow a little bit for this, I had foo-fooed off this virus a little bit, thinking they were exaggerating it. And like I said, they still may be exaggerating it a little bit, but it is a serious deal. And we need to really keep a check on it, right? And I think we're doing it. I think we're doing the best we can. Another thing is, too, and this has been going on since Donald Trump got elected. Like I said, I don't care if you like him, don't like him, doesn't matter. I don't care if you like President Obama, for instance. I don't care if you like President Lincoln. Of course, none of us was alive back then. I don't care who the sitting president is, but in a time of crisis, you gotta give them a pass. And what I mean by a pass, you don't have to like them. You don't have to like what they say. You don't have to like what they do. But you need to rally around the president and the people and that are running the country. Rally around, get your voices heard, but cut out all the Mickey Mouse stuff, as I call it. Like some people saying, well, oh my God, he's calling it the Chinese virus, making a big deal about that. Are we really worried about him calling it the Chinese virus? Really? Seriously? I mean, really? Is that the big problem? It did come from China. Whatever. If you think that's wrong or whatever, that's fine to say, I don't agree with that, I wouldn't do that, but whatever. But that's not the issue. The issue is we have a crisis. Need to rally around, everybody needs to rally around each other and support each other. That includes the President of the United States, folks. Whether you like Trump or not, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, my God, I wouldn't want his job. Does anybody watching this thing think they could do better than what he's doing? If you think you can, more power to you. Go run for president. There's no way I'd even want the job, right? But somebody has to do it. And I'm going to tell you the truth. This is so new to people. Even the doctors don't quite know everything about it. They're learning, but they don't know. So anyway, I'm just saying, come on, give the guy a break. And even if you hate him, just give him a timeout. Give him a pass for a minute till we get through this crisis, right? Don't worry about the word Chinese. Somebody, a dear friend of mine, really like her a lot. She put a thing on there like, oh my God, the president caused Chinese virus. He stopped this, blah, 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 blah. I just put on there, I said, well, okay, maybe you should call it the Chinese virus, but it is the virus that originated from China. Well, that's not even right, blah, blah, blah. Well, come on. I mean, really, what's the subject? What's the real story? What's the real story? What's the real significance? What's the real problem that we're having right now? It doesn't matter where the virus came from. It doesn't matter who's calling it. I could call it the Wonton Chinese Martian virus. Whatever. I call it the Godzilla virus. Are the people from Japan going to get mad about that because they created Godzilla? I'm just using it because it's big and it's bad and it's crushing all over the world, right? It's just a bad thing in general. So I don't care what you call it. It's a bad thing, okay? We shouldn't put so much emphasis on what the president's calling it or anybody else for that matter, right? We have bigger fish to fry, is what I'm saying. I feel we have bigger fish to fry, which is to get rid of the virus, period. Call it COVID-19. That's what it's called, right? Don't even call it coronavirus. Because I teased with her. I said, well, there's people, the Mexicans pissed off because you call it a coronavirus. That's a nice beer. I enjoy that beer, right? Are they getting mad about that? Anyway, enough of my little rant there, but I am kind of upset with the government. Get it together, guys. Get our money to us. Comment below on anything that I'm talking about here. Do you guys might have another swig of coffee? Okay, and like I said, I want to mention my daughter gave me this several years ago, and I want to give kudos to my daughter. She texted me today and says, I love you, Dad. She's very worried about me. I work in the healthcare industry. So does my brother. So does a lot of good friends of mine that I know. Now, I don't work directly with patient floors, but people that do come to our area and all that. And I guess right now we're kind of like we're on the front lines of a war. Someone said that the other day on the news, like, yeah, healthcare providers are on the front lines of the war. And I even had the whole facility where I work had had a message on the phone from Peyton Manning and said, "Hey, I want to thank all you guys for doing what you're doing." The famous football quarterback from Indianapolis here in my hometown. So it's nice. So, but the thing is, I thought about this the other day when I come home from work. I drop my clothes, I wash them, and I'm not gonna get all that stuff. I'm trying to stay very protected, very sanitized, and trying to do all the precautions I could possibly do, right? Stay protected. But we totally protected. I mean, I can't wear like hazmat suit at work every day. I just can't do that, right? And none of us can do that. So are we having some risk? Yeah. Do I have to do it? Yes. I have no choice. It's either do that or not eat. You know what I mean? I mean, so some things, but what it was humbling to hear that. And I told my wife the other day, for the first time in my life, I feel for the fire. Not that I don't feel for them anyway, but I kind of really got a really good gut feeling on how, and personal feeling on how a firefighter, a police officer, a combat soldier, and first responders, and people of this nature that do this kind of services for a career, how they feel every day when they walk out of the house to do their job and know that they're putting their lives on the line. Actually, we have, as healthcare providers, we actually are having a little bit of a taste of that. It's kind of a reality check to us. So with that being said, what do you do about everything being locked down? You just have to stay at home and this and that. What do you do in the pass the time? I touched a little bit on that last week. I want to share a clip right here of what I did last weekend while I'm at home. Hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll be right back after the clip. And here it is right here. Okay, guys, I was talking about smoking ribs. I got the old smoker. This may be the last year that I use this thing because it's getting pretty old. And God rest my uncle's soul. It was my uncle's. He passed away several years ago, and this thing is actually back from 1992. It's getting pretty old, but it's not much to show you here. I just basically got ribs there and a pork loin there, and I got it smoking. Always like to use this remote temperature gauge that Patrick was so nice to get me a few years ago, and we got 313 in the actual 313 in the actual smoker rather, and we got, let's see, he's got 304, 237, which I know that temperature is not right because I know it's not 300 and some degrees inside that pork loin. But anyway, we got the temperature there, and we got the hot box there. I got the fire going. I use a little charcoal with apple wood, and also use charcoal or wood as well. And like I said, just sharing a little fire out here. So that's all I'm doing today, guys. Just enjoying the peace and quiet. We do have some bluebirds in that bluebird house, and it's just nice. It's just like I said, with the pandemic, epidemic, whatever you want to call it, going around, shutting everything down, everybody's getting fearful. Maybe you're not. I'd say just stay calm. We're just out here and enjoying nature. And I'll shut up here for a minute just so you hear the birds. Anyway, it's really nice. Like I said, it is kind of just barely spitting snow a little bit, which makes it kind of nice, really. Like I said earlier, take care, stay safe, be smart, and help your neighbors if you can. Don't take advantage of people. Everybody will get through this. It's just a matter of time. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll catch you guys in the studio on Thursday. I hope you enjoyed that clip of me smoking the ribs. I apologize for not having I actually had a video of how they turned out. They turned out really good, and the tenderloin I did. And I took a video of it. I shared it on Facebook, but I accidentally erased it before I was able to share it on the podcast tonight. But they did turn out pretty decent. But my point being is, it was humbling and sobering what we're going through as a nation and in the world, really. So do some things that you enjoy. I'm a musician as well, and I tell you what, this whole thing of home shows is going viral. No pun intended. Everybody that I know that are musicians are doing home local acoustic shows and stuff, and it's nice. and I've supported some of my friends, and I'm doing it myself. I actually did a song last week, acoustically, since I can't be with my band buddies. I can't actually get with the bands and we get together and jam for a while. I'm doing my solo thing again. I had done that years ago, and I'm kind of bringing it back, so it's good for me. Kind of keeps your mind off of what's going on out there, keeps you busy, keeps you just busy, and keeps you get your mind off it. That's basically it. Comment below on what you guys do to keep your mind off it. I've been walking in the parks. I've been walking outside. Yesterday, I rode my bicycle for the first time since December, really. It was nice yesterday here in Indiana. Sunny, up to 60 degrees, beautiful day. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I went out on the bike, you know. So do things that make you happy. I'm doing my shows. If you guys want to check it out, I'll start posting some of my stuff up on my music side. So I have a Johnny Allen. Actually, it's called Johnny Allen. I'll post that on the maybe on the bottom of this. But I'll be posting some music videos up and some original songs I've written with solo and with my bands, and a couple covers. Last week I did "Rocket Man" by Elton John, and I like that song. Of course, I don't play piano that much. I'm not that good. Some people probably say I'm not that good of a guitar player either, but whatever. I played it on acoustic guitar. Speaking of that, I usually put a plug out on my Facebook channel about when I'm doing this stuff, and I want to make a shout out to my buddy Chris there in Austin, Texas, Mr. Chris in Austin, Texas. Now I've known Chris for a long time. I said last week that he was kind of quirky, and he puts these little mimes up, and he's a good guy. He really is. But he's kind of like he's like my spell checker and things of that nature, and I appreciate him doing that. I don't have the cell phone on me, but here's what it is. I have a bad habit. I admit I have a bad habit of getting on my cell phone, and I use the microphone on the cell phone. I have an LG phone. It's a few years old, but I have a fantastic time. I'm fascinated, rather, with the autocorrection. I will just blurb something out, my message. It looks pretty good. I used to not even check it, and I'm like, oh, gosh, this is Chinese. People don't understand it. And nothing against the Chinese out there, you know. PC. I don't mean anything bad about that, but I don't know. I can't read Chinese. But anyway, it was foreign, right? Like, what's he saying, right? All jumbled and scrambled and mimbled. So anyway, I started proofing it. And now, when I proof it, it looks good. I hit send, and guess what? Right before I hit send, it changes words around. So instead of me saying the Johnny Allen Podcast Show, I'm going to talk about the coronavirus. I'll say the Johnny Allen Sweatshop, and I'm going to talk about Kiss Dolls. So it's wacky. But anyway, my good buddy Chris pointed that out, and thank you, Chris, because you know what? That means that he's paying attention to what I'm doing, and that's great, because if he wasn't watching or going all the way through it, he wouldn't know. So anyway, I appreciate the participation, Chris. I hope you guys are doing good down there in Texas, you and the wife and the baby. I hope you guys are safe, seriously, down there. But I had to shout out to Chris because, you know, I think Chris kind of likes some shout outs anyway. So anyway, I hope you're doing good down there, Chris. Another thing is, too, I've had a lot of my buddies that work in the healthcare industry, and Chris does as well. I had one actually call me yesterday, very concerned about what's going on. And I just had a lot of people call me, and John, what do you think? So it is a stressor on especially healthcare people right now. Stressor on everybody, but the stressor when you have to go in a building where you know the virus is there for sure. But here's the thing. We'll get all through it. We'll get through it. We got to get this economy rolling again. Because, to be honest with you, it's going to do more damage. The virus is bad, but it's going to do more damage if we don't get this economy rolling. If businesses are not taking off, that's why the government's got this money, right? It's crucial. If the businesses don't start taking off, people are going to not have any money. And without any money in the economy, bad things start happening. That's all I got to say. We don't want that to happen, right? We do not want that to happen. So let's get a handle on things. We're strong as Americans. We can get through it. We got through 2 world wars. We got through plagues before, and we'll get through this one. It's just going to take some time. I'm very sorry if anybody's been affected by this. If anybody's lost family members of it, my condolences and my prayers out to you. It's bad, okay? But we will get through it. We will get through it. I heard an interview with a guy, 70 years old, 69, almost 70. You might as well call it 70. That lives in Minnesota, and this was on Fox News and the others, shared his story. He got sick a few weeks ago, had just basically little aches and pains, a little bit of a cough, nothing real bad, a slight fever, but his appetite never went away. Basically, he got sick for a few days and then he felt better. Well, here's the thing. His wife was concerned because they have 12 grandchildren. They're going to have like half the grandchildren come visit. And she says, you know what? You really need to get tested before I have my grandchildren come over, our grandchildren come over. So he agreed to it. He went to the doctor, went to a check, and he got tested for like 12 different viruses, right? He tested negative for all of them. The last one they did was COVID-19 test, and guess what? He tested positive. But he's not a carrier of it as far as like it won't, in other words, he can't give it to anybody because he's already went through the quarantine stage. But he did have it and made it through it with flying colors. Flip side of that is I know a young gal that's hanging on for her life right now, 19 years old, that came up with it really fast. And as far as we know, not under any underlying conditions. So that's the kind of part that's scary about it is that, you know, some people just fly through it, don't even know they have it. Others are hospitalized in bad shape, and others don't make it at all. So that's where the concern is. With the warm weather coming, it should calm it down. And the reason why I don't say that, I've read reports where doctors have said, the studies that the doctors and the CDC has done, because they explained about it being droplets, and in the summertime, the droplets, because the heat and humidity have a tendency to drop to the ground fast. They don't travel through the air as much as cold, dense air. The viruses will travel through the air further, and that they'll drop faster, and that will cause less spread that way. So we hope that's right. Pray that's right. I want to talk about our food sources. I know you guys got tired of grocery stores being out of food stuff, but hey, listen, the wife and I found that these local restaurants are opening up around here. Since they can't serve people, they're doing carryouts. We know that, right? You call it in, give them your credit card number, they put the food out on the table, leave it, and they go in, you grab it, kind of thing. And not only that, we got a local place here that's actually doing limited groceries. You can get on there, and you know what? For a month, I couldn't get toilet paper down there. It's been 3 weeks. And not that I was running desperately low, but I was starting to get a little lower. And not that I really need it, but I thought, well, and they offered toilet paper. It's one of the things on their menu that they offered that you could shop for. And you know what? They had it. And they run about the same cost as like a Kroger or something like that. So not a bad deal. So we got quite a bit of groceries. And didn't even have to walk in the building. And it was all made up for us. And we just picked it up from the curb. That was great. That was great. Could this be the wave of the future anyway? Yeah, comment below if you have any comments on that. So anyway, how you guys doing out there? Hopefully you guys are being safe. Hopefully everything's going good. Hopefully you're not being bored. Like I said, I mentioned the home concerts for musicians that are doing this thing. All my friends are doing it. All my friends that play, almost all of them that play guitars and stuff like that, they're doing these little home shows. It's great. Podcasting and things of that nature. You know, we're staying busy, and it's great. We got to stay busy, keep busy, stay focused, stay positive through this whole thing, right? Lastly, a couple things I want to talk about before I end tonight, guys, and today, rather. Thanks again for joining and liking and subscribing and joining in. I really do appreciate that. Comment below on anything that I talked about today or anything else. What kind of coffee you guys drinking? I remember Ron Gold told me a couple weeks ago what kind of coffee he's drinking. Thanks, Ron, for letting me know. I'm doing Maxwell House because that was the only thing they had. And it's not bad. It's good. I'll drink another cup of coffee, or have another drink of my coffee, rather. Okay, anyway, lastly, I had Brittany, who's a follower of mine, and thank you, Brittany, for following the Johnny Allen Podcast /video cast show. She asked me a question. She said, John, what about the guests? You said you're going to have guests. Well, it is true. I'm going to have guests. Right now, since we're on quarantine, I can't have guests. And right now, because of budget, I wasn't buying the program that I need in order to get the split screen and do the guest thing correctly instead of having somebody beside me here. That would work. But I want to get some more equipment, basically, to do it. Now, the equipment is coming. But now that the equipment's coming, I can't get guests on yet. But I will. As soon as this thing ends, I got several people I'm going to bring on, and you're going to like them. Everybody from I think I'm going to have Big Mike on, to my Pastor Woody, to a lot of, just to name a few names. There's a lot of people that are coming on. Other musicians. My brother and I are also working on the YouTube channel. It's going to be called Mike's House, and it's going to be all music related. And we are on schedule. I mean, we're going to do that. We're a little bit behind schedule because of all this stuff, but it will come up. So to answer Brittany's question, yes, I will have guests on, and that'll come as soon as possible, ASAP. And like I told her, I said, yeah, I can only blab for so long. And she teased me. She said, no, John, you're doing great. I appreciate that compliment. I really do. I feel the love from you guys, and I love it. It's great. Um, I want to end on this last note quickly. This is what I call the food for thought. This has nothing to do with what we're going through right now with this pandemic. Um, but if you have a question and you already know the answer to the question, why do you ask it to somebody? Why do you ask somebody a question when you already know the answer? Basically, is what I'm saying. So you have a question, you know the answer, or you think you know the answer, but you're asking it to somebody anyway. So his example, what this is just is a pet peeve of mine and drives me kind of bonkers sometimes. And I like to point these little, things out that people do, these weird things. So I have somebody, and I find this a lot with acquaintances I have that I know. They'll say, "Hey Johnny, what about X, Y, and Z? What about X, Y, and Z?" And I'll say, "Well," and they'll ask me that. What is this? And so I answer it, and then their response is, "Oh no, that's not right. It's this." Well, why did you ask me in the first place? Food for thought. In other words, what kind of coffee are you drinking today, John? Well, I'm drinking Maxwell House. Oh, no, I don't think it's Maxwell House. I really think it's Folgers. Whatever. It's that kind of silliness, man, I get. And like I said, I talk about President Trump and this, guys making fun of him, calling it the Chinese virus. Really, guys, at the end of the day, who cares? We got bigger fish to fry than worrying about what the president calls the dang coronavirus, COVID-19. I teased with the guy the other day. She was making a big issue about it. I said, here's the thing. They call it coronavirus. Do you think the people in Mexico are pissed off about that because it's the name of their beer? I actually heard on a talk show not too long ago, actually on a local affiliate here in Indianapolis called WIBC. They were talking with these guys that I really like a lot. And somebody actually, and they had a Q&A. They had a live Q&A, which they don't do very often, but when they do it, it's great. Had a woman actually call into their show and say, "Can I get the coronavirus by drinking Corona beer because I really like Corona beer?" And I was told that I could get coronavirus from Corona beer. Now, that is true, guys. Someone actually asked that. That's the biggest, example of craziness that's going on out there. All right. So, should we call it coronavirus? Should we just call it COVID-19? Now, that may offend somebody or something somewhere that's got named COVID. I don't know. Maybe there's somebody named COVID out there. Or people that are 19 years old or like the number 19. Is that going to, mess with them? Is that politically correct? My point is I'm trying to make at the end of the day, guys, is like I said, we got bigger fish to fry than worry about what the hell the virus is called. I call it the Godzilla virus. It's big, bad, and it's smashing the world. So let's not worry about that. Right now is when the country needs to all come together. Dems, Republicans, liberals, whatever. Martians, if you live here. And we all got to come together and support each other and support the sitting president. I don't care who the sitting president is, if you like him or not. We got to rally around the nation, and period, and take care of this. Because this virus, like I told somebody the other day, this virus knows no race, no age. And people say, well, John, it just affects older people. Nope, not true. It's getting younger people now. I remember my good buddy Chris down there in Austin again. He was saying early on when I was talking about this a few weeks back, he says, don't worry about your 401k. You need to worry about your life and smiling and a grinny smile. But you know what the thing is? It can affect anybody. Younger people, too. Older people are more risk, but it knows no race, no religion, no sexual orientation, no nothing. It doesn't care how much money you have. It doesn't care how poor you are. If you get it, you might have a problem. You might. So what I'm trying to say basically in a nutshell is we all need to support each other. You need to cast the personal differences and political differences and agendas out the window and concentrate on one agenda, is to get rid of this virus and get things back to normal as soon as possible. Because it will affect everybody. And it has affected everybody. And if we don't get a handle on it, it's going to affect us even more, especially when it comes to the economy, because it's going to crash big time. So we need to get this thing under control. So anyway, you guys have a great weekend. I'd like to just have one last shout out. I'm running a little bit over today, but one last shout out to my buddy up there You guys always hear me talk about Sean James in Canada, my self-reliance. If I get a chance, I will attach the link to the bottom. He had talked about this very subject. Yeah, I think he does a better job than I do, even though. I mean, I just really appreciate this man up there. But anyway, I'll share this link with you guys to check him out and give him a thumbs up if you may. Sean, if you're watching the podcast, keep up the good work. I do admire everything you're doing up there in Canada, and I appreciate the nice words that you gave to everybody. Hey, guys, take care. I'll see you next Thursday, God willing, on the Johnny Allen podcast / videocast show. Stay safe, and we'll talk about something else next week. Later.